If you're looking for an answer if Dark Lady Tiamat is worth it, just look at this fight. She's the solo support and she's carrying the team, making them invincible. They're not dying. They're also doing way more damage, and I'm not even using her exclusive artifact in this fight. So let me walk you quickly through her skill set and what makes her so powerful. Sadly, Continental Challenge has finished on a test server, and I don't want to spoil the endgame for you yet, as it's way too early, so I'm gonna show you the skills and why she can keep the team alive against Temporal Vortex. So the team doesn't really matter. Summons are still not good at the Temporal Vortex. There are better teams like Flora and Beldel, but what makes the Dark Lady click? And also why we're not using her exclusive artifact in the end game, because this might differ depending on the content. So what I found worked best for the Dark Lady is utilizing her as a debuffer, as that's what she does, right? She applies attack penalty with her battle skill, and this is quite good because it has a low cooldown, stays for 5 seconds, and good upkeep. However, we can't really time it properly, but her ultimate is quite important. You will use it in multiple dungeons and Continental Challenge bosses going forward, as it dispels all the debuffs. Well, has 75% to dispel all the buffs and shields from the enemy. This chance is not getting upgraded through the levels of the skill. As you can see, it's not. There's 75% chance. However, this attack hits twice, so we have twice the chance of 75%, which is quite good. This also allows her to use Witch's Remains. Usually we want at least 3 hits to proc this, but having 60% chance on double hit is still doable. Obviously, in most content we can just repeat the fight and increase our odds. And as well, this buff prohibition, as I said, Continental Challenge bosses, they do like to have some kind of buffs that we can prohibit. And since Dark Lady is a support, she's not summon school, she's just Necrosis support like Thorin and etc. We will be able to use her in the seasons to come with different pairings. So if the affinity changes and she is with another team next season, we'll be able to use her. So this is why having at least one copy of her will be enough for most of you, as you can run this build. Obviously, this season we have access to Emissary Robe, which grants accuracy and skill haste. But on top of that, when the wearer successfully inflicts a debuff, it can be through the battle skill, it can be through the ultimate. He will increase, all allies will deal 10% more damage for 10 seconds. So with this battle skill, we have very good upkeep of it. Basically, we can have it all the time. And now, obviously, we will build her mostly with HP, attack, and defense. The reason for that is because her passive is very powerful and scales with her stats. So while this hero is present, whenever any unit dies on the battlefield, all ally heroes share this unit attributes, which will be attack, defense, and HP equally. However, the maximum cumulative increase per attribute for each hero cannot exceed 30% of the Dark Lady corresponding attributes. This is why we need to increase these attributes to increase what she can share with the team. Also, she will heal ally heroes by 10% of the dead unit max HP, capped at 10% of each ally's hero's own max HP. Okay, so this scales with our own hero's max HP. So, I mean, the healing is not the greatest. This is why we still run like the Tunnel King's gloves or this one, Mountain Echo one, that grants us extra healing because we need it to survive. She's not the greatest healer, but she's got enough to keep us alive. As you know, she will increase attack, defense, and HP, so we will be more tanky. She will grant us tiny bit of healing, as well as inflicting attack penalty on the enemy team, which is all adding up to a lot of utility. When it comes to the talents, she has few very good talents. So the first one is more offensive oriented. When dealing damage to target inflicted with a negative effect, it will increase damage dealt. Alright, cool. The other options are not that good. When it comes to the second tier, or rather fourth tier, each time the hero successfully triggers resistance, she gains 10% ultimate energy with 20-second cooldown. This is not the one that we're looking for. We will prefer that resistance that we can share and stuff, but whatever. We can obviously also increase her accuracy through this complete focus, or when she inflicts a debuff, she will recharge extra ultimate every 10 seconds. You can run this as well, but on the end game, this is not important and she will be timed, so we don't need to worry about that. When casting ultimate skill, the hero gains 20 resistance up to 10 stacks, so you can get 100 extra resistance. She can ignore the target's resistance as well, which will mean we need less accuracy and makes it easier to build her and focus on the right stats. When inflicted with a negative effect, she gains immunity to that effect. And then we have the ultimate skill as well, talents tier 6. This one, I'm not really a fan of it, but each time the hero gains status, deals damage equal, alright. This one, each time the hero successfully resists a debuff, she will gain that shield, which is quite good because she will be mostly our single support. We could build her defensively as well, remember. And her exclusive cast battle skill at the start of the battle. So this is really good when you try to push the early dungeons, because it helps you with this battle skill cast, which is attack penalty. However, if you inspire her with just one inspiration, and this is quite important for the end game, she will cast the battle skill and inflict healing prohibition as well. So very powerful in PvP, and also in the end game, as this adds 10% bonus damage against the boss. Every debuff does, and this one does count. The other inspirations are quite powerful as well, because it increases the chance for the ultimate skill to dispel enemy buffs and shield by 25%. So now this 75% that I mentioned is becoming 100%. That is huge. It reduces the amount of RNG, the random component, when using her. If you want to use her in PvP, the number of random targets selected by the battle skill will increase to 5. Without that, it hits three random enemies. So an increase by 2. Basically, the whole enemy team, unless they bring supports. It's not supports, summons. 30 skill haste, and then increase the cap for the attribute gained via passive skill to 40%, and increases the HP restoration cap to the target's 15%. This is huge. But, you know, guys, to get her to Inspiration 5, with skipping her artifact, you need 6 copies. That's a lot. That's a whalish territory, but it definitely is worth it. Now, when it comes to her artifact, I didn't really have a test or need to use that artifact. So that's something I'll need to do, as that will require a lot of time and thinking on how I can test that. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below. But sadly, Season 2 is finishing on the test server, so I don't really have a choice. I really wanted to have her available during Continental Challenge so I could test this team with her on Alton rather than just going for the end game. That is also finishing right now. And I was looking at where her artifact is and I finally found it. So the good thing about this artifact is, as I mentioned previously, accuracy is quite important. There's not really much accuracy artifacts that are useful, right? We have those two that are obviously the strongest ones, and then few situational, and few that I can't really spoil right now. So what it does is enemies affected by debuffs continuously lose HP, and for each type of debuff they possess, they take necrotic damage equal to this from the Dark Lady. So in my case, the Dark Lady has 4,000 extra attack plus 1,500 basic. So we're looking at almost 5,500 attack here. So how much damage does this artifact do? Obviously, it should do 200% of the attack. So let's have a look at how it looks inside the battle. So when we apply these debuffs, you can see that we're doing 60,000, even 22,000 per tick, and her skills also look amazing. So yeah, we can see that taken. Let's remove this and see exactly how it looks with Witch's Remains. And let's run it. So yeah, we can definitely see we're not doing that damage anymore. There's no extra ticks when we remove that artifact. So when Ripekas has it applied, we can see nothing ticks because there's no Dark Lady. So let's add Dark Lady to the mix, but without the artifact. Let's see if someone else can still trigger that. Looks like no. Looks like the answer is she has to wear it for it to work. So if the artifact is worth it is a hard question to answer, because depending on what you run, some of you might not have Burnate, so there is no better option to apply, which is Remains. And looks like at the end game we won't Burnate using different artifact than Witch's Remain, because she will be using something similar to Witch's Remain, which will be the crown to increase the amount of the debuffs we have on the boss. However, maybe in content in Season 3, the Dark Lady will use her artifact. So if you've been following the Chinese version of the game, let me know if they are using this artifact. Because obviously if you pair this team with, for example, let's say an Ice Blast team, you don't really need her to have Witch's Remains, as Sheena will have that, and then you can put that artifact on to increase the damage that your team does, because you know this damage does add up and will eventually add up to quite a big number if you're looking for a fight that lasts a couple minutes. But I want to hear your opinions. Obviously, she is, as we know, quite mandatory going forward, as even non-summon teams will be using her in Continental Challenge and endgame teams. So yeah, definitely everyone should have at least one copy of the Dark Lady, so hopefully you did save 275 dice and will be able to get her. And if you didn't, maybe you will get her before that, but obviously it's such a small chance of that happening. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think about the Dark Lady. Are you looking forward to her? Because I know in the comment section when I was doing my summons, everyone said that they've been waiting for her. So finally you'll be able to get her soon, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay safe. Bye.